Okay, welcome to Business 311. This is Managerial Finance, Huntingdon College. My name is Dr. James Yohe, and today we are going to work on Chapter 7, and this particular video is on the free cash flow valuation. Okay, now here we've got a company, Neighbor Industries, and they're considering going public, they're unsure of a fair offering price for the company. Before hiring an investment banker to assist in making the public offering, managers at Neighbor have decided to make their own estimate of the firm's common stock value. The firm's CFO has gathered data for performing the valuation using the free cash flow valuation method. Now, here you can see that we've got the firm's weighted average cost of capital estimated at 11%. Okay. And this firm has $1,500,000 in debt at market value. Okay, that's going to be our VD, right? Not our other kind of VD, but this is a good VD. It's still not good either. Any kind of VD is bad. Okay, and then we've got $400,000 of preferred stock at its assumed market value. So this is already set for us. And if you'll remember, the value of this of securities, VS, is equal to VC, which is the value of the cash flows, and we're going to do that in a minute, minus VD minus VP. So we have VD and VP. We know what to subtract. Now we need to know what to subtract it from. And that is going to be the value of the free cash flows. Now, in these free cash flow models, we estimate the free cash flows over the next 5 years. Okay, so we've got those here: 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Okay, so we've estimated those things, and they're right there. Okay, and then after the 5-year period, we assume, right? You know what that does? Okay, we assume that these free cash flows will grow at some fixed annual rate. And in this case, that's 3%. So the first thing we want to do here is estimate the value of Neighbors Industries' entire company by using the free cash flow valuation. Okay, so how much is the whole company worth by using free cash flow? So if, pull up the right page, there we go. I'll move my face over here if I can. There we go. Get that out of the way. This is problem 7, chapter 7, problem 16 on pages 305 and 306 in your book. You can go ahead and pause the tape if you want and review it. Okay. I started filling out my variables. Always put your variables down first when you're doing any kind of a math problem, especially in finance. RA, okay, that is our weighted adjusted cost of capital, right? And they estimated that at 11% for Neighbors Industries. And then we have our free cash flow growth rate. That's after the first 5 years. And that's going to be from 2021 on, of 3%. Okay. Then I've got more. I've got VD, which we were told was $1.5 million. That's the market value of this particular firm's debt. We've got VP, which is $400,000. That is the estimated value of the preferred shares, the preferred stock in the firm. And then we've got those free cash flow estimates that we saw earlier. Step 1, first thing we're going to do here, is calculate the present values of free cash flows from the end of 2021 into infinity, all the way to infinity. Okay, so forever. Okay. Now, the present value, first thing we have to do is we have to get the free cash flow for 2021. We're basically doing that that constant growth model here with free cash flows instead of dividends. We're using the free cash flow. That's the money this firm has, the value of its capital, okay, value of the company. And we got to multiply that free cash flow by 1 plus G, because here we're in the dividends of the first year of that constant growth period. We don't have that data. If you look, we only had it to 2020. After this, these free cash flows are estimated to grow or assumed to grow at a 3% rate. To do really what we're doing here is a growth model using free cash flows instead of dividends, and using the RA instead of the required return that we would on the growth model. Okay. So we've got to get free cash flow 1. To do that, we take the $390,000 in free cash flow that this firm made in 2020, and I'm trying to get my pen there. Okay. We take that and we're going to multiply it by, if I get my cursor to work, there we go, 1 plus the growth rate. There's the formula. So we take the $390,000 they made in the 5th year, that's 2020, multiply it by 1 plus the growth rate, that's 1.03 times 390, and we're going to get this 401,700. That's the free cash flow for 2021. We take that free cash flow from 2021 on until infinity, but we take that free cash flow. That's going to grow at a 3% rate every year after 2020. 2021 is the first year. That's why we've got 401,700 on top. You divide that by the RA, which was 11%, as a decimal, that's 0.11, minus 0.03. That's the growth rate. And we're going to get $5,021,250. Now that is the present value of those earnings from 2021 into infinity in the year 2020. It's not 2020 right now. It's in this model, we're in 2016. Okay, beginning of 2016. So this present value here isn't what we're going to use later. We're going to have to change it. We're going to have to make it a present value in the year 2016. This is the present value of those future earnings in 2020, but we're in 2016. So we have to take the present value of the free cash flows from 2020 and add them to the present value in the year 2020 of the free cash flows from 2021 on into infinity. And I know this is complicated at first. When you've done a couple of these, you start getting used to it, okay? But what we just calculated in step 1 is the value of the free cash flows from 2021 on into infinity for the year 2020. So we can just add those to the actual free cash flows we got off the table from 2020, and then take the present value of that whole thing for the year 2016, and we'll show you how to do that. So we add the cash flow we got from our calculation in step 1. That's the value of all of the free cash flows from 2021 on into infinity, and we use this something similar to the constant growth model that we used earlier, and we add it to the free cash flow from 2020. So I've got $5,021,250 in the year 2020, plus $390,000 in the year 2020. And that gives me total free cash flow, you can think of it this way, for the years 2021 on into infinity in 2020, as present values in 2020, of $5,411,250. Now that's its 2020 value. I need to know how much that money is worth to me now in 2016. So to do that, I have to calculate a present value. Okay. And these earnings are 5 years out. The end of 2016, the end of 2017, the end of 2018. You can't see my fingers. Okay, the end of 2016, the end of 2017, the end of 2018, the end of 2019, and then everything from the end of the year in 2020. Okay, so it's 5 years out. So to take that present value, we take the future cash flows, the present value in 2020 of all those future cash flows, and we divide it by 1 plus our weighted adjusted cost of capital, or RA, to the T power. T is 5, because it's beginning of 2016 when this problem takes place. So we got the end of 2016, the end of 2017, the end of 2018, the end of 2019, and the end of 2020. So it's 5 years. So you take 5,411,250 we just calculated from the beginning of step 2. You divide it by 1.11 to the 5th power and hit the equal sign. Okay. I'm going to show you how to make that calculation on my calculator. Okay, but this is just the one that comes in Windows. So I have $5,411,250. We're going to divide that by, and then I'm going to make brackets on the bottom, 1.11. That's 1 plus the 11% RA. And I'm going to take that, x to the y, to the 5th power, and I'm going to close my bracket. That gives me a calculation here. Okay? Now, when I hit my equals button, it's going to divide $5,411,250 by 1.11 to the 5th, and I'm going to get $3,211,313, my fault, and 50 cents. I've got it written down right there. Okay. That is the present value of those cash flows from 2021 on into 2020, plus the present value in the year 2020 of those future cash values from 2021 on into infinity that we calculated in step 1. That's what all that free cash flow is worth to us right now in 2016, even though it started late 2016, 2021, but the book's old. Okay. So that's step 2. Step 3, we're going to calculate the present value of the future cash flows for the first 4 years. Remember, in the text, they said that we generally estimate them for the first 5 years and then assume there's a constant growth rate of those future cash flows after the year 5. Okay, it's just the way they do it. Now, we've got to calculate the other 4 present values for the other 4 cash flows. So in 2016, at the end of the year, we would have free cash flows of 200,000. We're going to discount that just like we would any other way. The simplest way to do this on your financial calculators is to just simply say present value 200,000, n of 1 because it's 1 year away, 11%, 11 IY, that's the rate we're discounting these things by, and then hit compute present value. So $200,000 is a positive future value. We're going to get that money in a year. So 200,000 future value. We're getting that money in 1 year. That's one discounting period. So n is equal to 1. We're discounting it by the RA, which is 11%. So we hit 11 IY. I got 3. I'm computing the fourth. I want the present value. I want to know what that future cash flow is worth to me right now. So I hit compute present value, PV. And that will give me this $180,180.18. That's the future value of those cash flows at the end of the year 2016 at the beginning. We do the same thing for 2017, except our discounting periods are now 2. So to calculate this, you're going to enter a positive $250,000 free cash flow as your future value. Is positive because we're going to get that money. This money is 2 discounting periods away, 2 periods, 2 years away. So 2N. And the rate we're discounting it by is the RA. That was 11%, so you hit 1111. IY. I got 3 keys. I'm computing the fourth. Then I hit compute present value. And that will give me the present value of these free cash flows at the end of 2017. You can see here I got $202,950.61. Then we go to the cash flows in 2018. Okay, here. We're going to get $310,000 in future cash flow at the end of 2018. That is a future value, so we hit $310,000 future value. That's a positive. We then know that money is going to be 3 years away, so 3N. And then our RA is what we're using to discount those earnings by. It is 11%, so we hit 11 IY. I got 3 keys. The book tells me to compute the fourth, or the problem does. So I hit compute present value. The present value of that $310,000 in free cash flow at the end of 2018 is worth $226,669.33 at the beginning of year 2016. That's where we are. That's our present, even though it's not really the present, it's the past, but we're pretending we're in the past. Okay, do the same thing for 2019. I'm going to get future cash flows of $350,000 in the year 2019 at the end of it. That is a positive thing. So I hit $350,000 and I hit my future value key. That money is 4 years away. The end of 2016, 17, 18, at the end of 2019 is when I'm getting the money. That's 4 years away, so I hit 4N. And our RA is 11%, so we hit 11 IY. Got 3 keys entered. I'm computing the fourth. The only exception to that is annuities. We already did those. Okay. So now I hit compute present value. And that'll give me $230,555.84. That's how much I'd be willing to pay for those free cash flows now. These are all present values. I can add them. And I'm going to come up with 800, I'll leave that so you can do it on your own, $840,355.96. That's the present value of the first 4 years free cash flows. I'm now going to add them to the present value of all the remaining cash flows from 2020 on into infinity. I calculated those in step 2. That was 3,000,000. If we could, I can't go back to it because it's on another page, but that was $3,211,313.50. When I add these, that gives me my VC. That's the value of these future cash flows now. Okay. But I have debt in this firm. So when we calculate VS, which is the value of the shares, we have to take away the present value of the debt and the value of preferred stock shares. So we do that. We take that $4,051,669.46 that we got from step 3. We subtract, that's our VC. You can see I got the formula here. Minus VD, which is the value of the debt. Okay. Not something you get from other co-eds. It's the value of the debt. And then we also have to subtract out the value of the preferred shares. When we do that, we get a VS, this is the value of common stock shares, of $2,151,669.46. Okay. So that's what you'd be willing to pay to buy the whole firm, making the assumptions that we made earlier, that the free cash flows that are going to be available from that firm, the rate at which we discount it, our RA, and the growth rate of the dividends after the 5th year. So given those assumptions, this is how much we'd pay to buy the whole firm, or what it would be worth, because we're actually selling the firm to some degree because we're going to sell shares of stock in it. That's what the whole firm's worth. Now, the last part, part C, asks you for the share price. The share price, the common stock value per share, is equal to the VS, the value of what we pay for the whole firm, divided by the number of common stock shares. There were 200,000 shares of stock. If we go back here to page 306, I believe it was, part C, if the firm plans to issue 200,000 shares of common stock, what is the estimated value per share? Well, the estimated value per share is the VS, $2,151,669.46, divided by those 200,000 shares. And when you make that calculation, it comes out to be $10.76. Now, I would assume that one of these problems could be on your final. So I would write the steps along with the equations. Those are on pages, let me double check that. Those are on pages 290. Those are on pages 291, equation 7-6, and equation 7-7. So I would write the steps, the formulas on how to do them on your formula sheet that I was told you can use for the final. Okay. I would work this problem on your own, see if you come up with the same stuff I did. If you do, that's great. And then work the homework problems in the assignment, and that should give you a good idea of how to solve one of these problems if it shows up on your final, or more importantly, if it shows up in real life. Okay? Thank you very much. I wanted this video to be short. It's not short as I would have liked, but it's going to have to do. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day. Goodbye.